Okay.
A photograph of Larry Christensen's appeared. Goodbye, Larry.
All right, here we go. This is Dominick.
I'm in your hands, gentlemen. What would you like to see?
Well, hold on, we want to check the spelling on this. Is it P as in Papa, Alpha, Romeo, Sierra, India, Foxtrot, Alpha, Lima?
You got it.
That's it. Yep.
So what do I do here? Observe?
Yeah. Or do you want us to observe or play?
Well,
Dominick,
I've got
Dominick,
several
you are paying me. You
Yes.
tell me what you.
Okay, I've got several prepared lines I want to discuss.
Wait a minute, Dominick. The question is, we want to observe him on ICC. Is he logged in?
Are you logged into ICC, James?
Yeah, I've just matched myself. Pass upon you.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so this is Dominick Mazzotta, Temecula Chess Club, second session with Grandmaster James Plaskett in Spain. James, the theme of our session today is going to be based on a quote from Rudolf Spielmann. He said, "A good sacrifice is
Rudolf.
Yeah.
Not John.
He said, "A good sacrifice is one that's not necessarily sound, but leaves your opponent dazed and confused." I love that line.
I'll drink to that.
Okay, so in the early 80s, a Russian grandmaster that deeply influenced my play was Drago Velimirovic. He passed.
I played him 3 times.
Oh, really? How did you do with him?
I lost the first game where I missed mate in 3. I missed mate in 3. I drew the second one, which was I white altogether, where he overlooked a repetition, and then I won the third one.
That's not bad. Specifically, his Velimirovic attack against the Sicilian. I want to spend our entire session on the Sicilian because the Sicilian has played more against e4 than any other defense, statistically. So here's the line I want to look at. e4.
Yep.
C5,
Can you see that?
C5. NF3. NC6. D4. C5 takes D4. Knight takes D4. E6.
Time on so far.
NC3. D6. Bishop to E3.
Have this position myself. Early this month.
Yes, I have several games from the early 80s with this also, based on this line. Knight to F6. Bishop to C4.
Yeah, I played F4.
I've tried F4 in castles. Fischer played these lines. So yeah, bishop to C4. Bishop to E7. And now we enter the Velimirovic attack with queen to E2. With the idea of white castling long and then playing possibly G4. And what left me with such an impression by Velimirovic was the control of the F5 square. I mean, you could write books and books just about the F5 square in chess. So there follows, after queen to king 2, A6.
Don't wish to interrupt your flow of thought, but in the last 3 times when he played the Velimirovic attack, Fischer castled kingside.
Right.
He beat Larsen twice, and then he drew with Spassky. Somewhat fortuitous to see Spassky was winning.
It seems safer to go short. I agree. It seems a lot safer for white to castle short. which is why I like going long here.
But less fun. Less fun.
Okay, so castles, queen side after a6. Queen to c7. Bishop to b3. It's been argued at the highest levels that retreating the bishop is a loss of tempo. I'm not so sure I agree with that.
What would you play in its place?
Well, I don't. I mean, I've read some stuff that a lot of players distrust moving the bishop twice.
I'm going to ask them the same question I'm going to ask you. If you don't do that, what do you do?
Exactly. I feel much safer retreating the bishop. Let's see, move 10, knight to a5.
Is this a game or analysis or both?
No, this is a game. G4.
Yeah.
Here's where the fun starts now. B5. G5. Knight takes b3.
Yeah, I thought he might do
It's time to get rid of the dangerous white bishop. A2 takes b3.
You were saying about knight takes b3 check. I mean, there was a game 8, I think, of the, was it game 8? Maybe it was game 10. It was game 8.
Yeah, anyway.
Of the short Kasparov. I was sure where Gary played knight takes b3 check at the right moment. I said afterwards in the post-mortem, maybe you should, now it's time for knight takes b3 check. Okay, so we took that which way? A4 or knight?
Yeah, a2 takes b3. F6 to d7. Okay, here we go. Now you'll see why I like this line so much. Knight to f5 here. This is where
a move I played myself on 2 occasions, I think, but a long time ago.
So yeah, so my friend, what do you think? Take a minute or two. Tell me what you think of this line right here, this position after knight to f5.
I think this position is analyzed by Larson.
Really?
In RHM's book, How to Open a Chess Game from 1972. I think he said afterwards that he played some game, he was black, and Velimirovic himself came up afterwards and said this wins and this wins, and there's something wrong with that. I played it against a chap called Blaine, Hungarian chap, Blaine, in a league match about 20 years ago. I also played it about 10 years before that club game.
Do you have
I wasn't all that strong. I have one.
Oh, I'd love to see that game sometime. Maybe you can send it to me. So black plays e6 takes f5 here.
Yeah.
I think you have to remove the knight on f5. There follows knight to d5.
Yeah.
Queen to d8. Black's game is very passive here, but it gets worse. E4 takes f5. Now there's a lot of problems on the e7 square for black. Here's what really gets me. This whole line for black, black castles here, and if that's the best that black has, which castling goes right into the attack, then this whole line is suspect. So after castles for black, Velimirovic plays f6. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I think Larson analysed this in a game he played as black and improved on this game. And afterwards he said, Rich came running up and said this wins and that wins, and there was something wrong with the finish. But, okay, so black played f6. Yeah?
F6.
Well, if you don't play f6, well, you can play maybe rook g1 or something. F6.
Yeah, right, Velimirovic plays f6. I don't know. Is black already busted here? It's looking scary.
Looks like white's probably going to win.
So, g7 takes f6. Bishop to D4.
Yeah.
I sure wouldn't want to be sitting on the black side of this, would you?
I don't wish to be cheeky, but if my computer had analysed it, yes, but only if the computer said you're okay. My gut feeling is no, this is not okay.
I'm with you, James. Knight to E5. That seems like, as necessary can be here in this position. There follows G5 takes F6. Bishop takes F6. And now H1 to G1.
Yeah?
Yeah. Bishop to G7. Bishop takes E5. D6 takes E5. Queen takes E5. F6.
Oh, it was a mate on GM.
Yeah, sure looks like it. Knight to E7 check. King to F7.
Yes. Forced. Don't we understand what happens on King H8? Rook takes Queen, Pawn takes Queen, Rook takes Rook check. That's good enough.
Yep.
Okay.
After Queen to H5, Black finds his best move, which he resigns here.
Yeah.
This was played.
Who was the opponent?
This was in the Yugoslav Championship. This game was played in 1965, and I was.
Yeah, but who was he playing?
I'm looking for the. The man's name is Sofrevsky. Jovan, Jovan Sofrevski.
Huh?
Yeah, so this was played in May of 1965, the Yugoslavian Championship. As I said, the control of F5 it made me want to play this variation. I had great results with it. Most people didn't know how to react. Anyway, so you
Did you play the Knight F5 sack yourself ever?
Yes, I have. I don't have the game here with me, but at another time I'll find it and send it to you. Yeah, I've got 2 or 3 games with the Knight F5 sack. I've won every game. It's just it's fun. This is the kind of chess I like to play. So okay. I wish you had that game available. Can you back this up and show me what you had with the white side? Can you recall that?
No, we may be talking at cross purposes. I'm talking about a game. The one I mentioned was analysis. I'm pretty sure in a section on the opening, which doesn't mean anything, of Larson in the book How to Open a Chess Game, which he was one of the authors of. There are about 6 or 7 others. There was the Trojan. There was Tish. Karpov declined, even though he just won the San Antonio tournament. He said that I'm not good enough yet to contribute with these people. Hort was a contributor as well. It's a very interesting book. But I'm pretty certain that Larson, who wrote on all kinds of things, also wrote about a game where he played as black in this line and won it. But I'm not sure he castled. The Sozin myself, I played those games. One of the bloke was about 2,100, that it was much bigger than that some years ago. The last time I played the Sozin, I was on the black side of it. And I played a very unusual queen move. Do you want to see the game?
Please.
Okay, let's go back to the start. This is against a guy called Johnny Hector, who was a Swede. Have you heard of him?
Yes, I have.
He's a sweet. He's also an animal. I mean, he plays chess like an animal. And not a cute animal. I mean.
So he's ferocious.
A beast of prey. I hit him with a novelty, which is actually a bum novelty, but it worked. Let me show you what happened. Bishop c4.
I have to tell you real quick, I don't play the Sicilian anymore for black because there's so many prepared variations that run 20, 25 moves deep. It's too easy to fall into prepared lines. There's too much you have to know. For tournament, it's not.
I think a lot of people would tell you the same thing.
Well, then I'm in good company.
No, you're in good company at a6, castle's queenside. And now I castle, because if he plays knight takes c6, and then if he plays this, we're not going to lose any sleep here with black. Yeah, that's a good horse. Good square. That's the worst he can do if he doesn't concede.
Yeah, black has a good grip on the center.
That's right. And then knight on d5 is very well placed there. So he went here. And guess what move I played here? A move looked at in some detail by Andrew Soltis. Whom I played in 1979 in New York. I beat him in a Sicilian.
Did you? You said a queen move. So let's see. Did you play queen to c7?
No, we just seen queens. Well, we've seen different. Not to c7. It's the most obvious place. The book is The Youngest School of Soviet Chess, which is a bit dated now because some of those guys are getting a bit older. From mid-1970s, and the game, what's the game? The game Espig versus Velimirovic is that from 1973 or so. Miles outside the game he played against Velimirovic. When was that? Probably about 1993. And it was a line of the. I'll show you. I'll go back to this. I'll come back to this just in a moment. I'll show you. It was like this. We'll come back to that just in a moment.
Okay.
It was a Spanish. And Velimirovic had developed a penchant for a certain move, he said. Miles played. See, Miles on the white side of the Spanish is pretty unusual. And he played here Queen E2, pointing out that if Short could beat Karpov twice with that move, it must be quite a good move.
I've actually played this line in tournament.
No. You're following in the footsteps of the great Nigel Short. Castle or something like that. And something like C3, D6. Something like H3 was played here, or D4. So. It's D4, button, bishop G4. And Velimirovic in this position, or in one very similar to this, is moving something like bishop D7. I wouldn't swear on my mother's life it's this position, but it was something. He went here.
Wow.
And if your reaction is the reaction of any other sane man. What so and so has gone on there. And Miles mentioned the fact that he had played Queen E8 before. Huh?
That's where Black's rook usually goes in the.
Well, you're talking sense, man. And you made any sense whatsoever in Queen E8, but he did point out that Velimirovic had a penchant for Queen E8 in that he had played it in this game against Espig. Now let's go back to the start. I wouldn't swear it's exactly that. It was around that time, about 10 or 11 or 12 with Black. In normal Spanish, he went Queen E8.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the position we have here. How's the weather where you guys are?
Well, it's pleasant right now. There is a storm coming. We're supposed to get.
Yeah, we've seen all this stuff on the TV. There's all kinds of shit going down over in your country. The 4 feet of snow and whatever.
Oh, that's the East Coast.
That's on the other side of the country, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that's the East Coast. That's not. We're good here. We have the best weather in the country, and people come here to travel and spend thousands for 1 week to enjoy weather that we have every day. We had 75 degrees just a couple days ago here. Not bad for January.
Not bad at all, man. Okay, so I've given you a clue as to what Velimirovic played in this position, what I played as well.
But you said it wasn't queen to c7.
It wasn't queen to c7.
Can black? Oh, the queen to e8.
That's what I played.
I also would see queen to a5 looks like a possible move, although I don't know. Maybe it's dangerous. Queen to e8. Okay.
I'm not sure. Maybe you go g4 or king d1. Yeah, I think this is moves fallen out of fashion. F4 is not a stupid move there. F4, B5, E5 takes, knight takes queen, and then pawn takes pawn. It doesn't look so pretty good for white, actually, but stuff is happening. So I'm like, this is regarded by many people as kind of acid test of it, isn't it?
So the crucial variation, in other words. I know there's lines where white can sack on b5 and get the 2 pawns for the piece. I don't know if it's playable here, but I mean I've seen games.
I don't think so.
No, okay.
Something like e5. Just thought to be pretty good for white, but what he did was the more aggressive idea, the more caveman approach. Hector. You went here. After which you get something akin to the queen being on c7, because white now plays, black now plays the same regrouping maneuver in anticipation with his king's knight. You were saying?
I used to think that preparing g4 wasn't necessary, but I have seen lines where the rook goes to g3 and then over to h3 and creates a lot of threats on h7. So this is interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes
what would you play here with black?
Is greater than the execution.
What would you play here with black?
Gee. I think I'd want to exchange on d4, actually.
And if he takes back with the bishop?
Right, and then try for b5 and maybe bishop to b7. I don't have a feel for the black side, James. It's not my. Not my.
I don't know. If he plays f4 and g4, black certainly got counterplay. How about this one?
So bishop. Oh, I see. No, I can't. I drop. No, I drop the bishop.
This is by no means out of the question with black. There's a lot of stuff there. First of all, we can play on with bishop b7. We can also just go here.
What about...
okay. Then have the cheek to take on h2, and then come back to f4 with check, and then play some defensive stuff, like g6 or h6. Play white here.
Isn't it dangerous to grab the h2 pawn, though, and open up the
I'm
h pawn?
going to take your h pawn. You don't scare me, honey. You don't scare me. I'm going to take your h pawn. I got the bishops.
Yeah.
Play white here.
Rook to d3.
Rook to d3 makes a lot of sense. Okay, I've got the whatever. So I can play b4 if I want to mess things up. I can play a5. I'm gonna maybe a5 first. Play a5.
Yowza.
Play on both sides. That's a fantastic bishop on e5, man. That guy really is a hero.
I hate to have to waste moves on the queen side here defending, but I mean the threats are coming here.
If you don't, I'm going to get you a bishop, baby.
Yes, that's true. You're baffling me with the truth here. Even after a3, it seems. Well, I guess I have to play a3 here. You know what though? Wait a second. I feel like I'm one tempo down here.
You're 1 point up.
Well, Dominic doesn't care about material, James. A3.
Deeply spiritual man, Dominic.
You betcha.
We'll go B4.
Yes.
Yeah, we can look at concrete variations, but in general, I think black is doing fine.
Yes, I do too. It looks scary to take on B4 to me, and moving the knight away just makes your black bishop that much stronger.
I also got bishop A6 coming.
The problem here is that white can't get
Bishop
F4.
A6 coming, yeah?
Yes, I see. But I can't get F4 in, and that's the issue. And white lost control of the E5 square, which.
Well, if this isn't good for white, and I don't think it is.
I agree with you.
Then bishop takes F6 is not the best move. You've got to revert something else like that. G4, F4, King B1, A3. I don't think E5 is any problem. Let's take it. Go bishop B7.
F4.
This is not stupid at all. And might be seen in future because what I played is also in this position you went B5. I think it's a very nice move, but E5 isn't so stupid either. I like your move. I like E5. He takes on F6, you go bishop takes F6, and then bishop E5, and then A5 and stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's okay.
Let's jump subjects. We've spent more than I wanted to on the Velimirovic. The next thing I want to look at is the Keres attack. There's not enough minutes in the day.
Do you want me to show you the 1 or 2 minutes more of this game? Or?
No, we can stop on this from here. I wish
Did
we
you
had
say the Caracan?
no, the Keres attack.
E4.
E4.
The 6G4 move.
Yes. C5, NF3, D6, D4, C takes D, knight takes D, knight to F6, knight to C3, E6, G4.
Yeah.
Keres, to me, was probably the greatest player that never became world champion.
Well, a lot of people would agree.
I studied his games.
There were suggestions that he may have been forced to throw the match with Botman.
We had a player here, his first name was Miroslav at the club. He had some very, very sour things to say about Botvinnik, that the Russians gave him purposely weaker opponents. They favored him in matches. I mean, a lot of cheating. Fischer was right about that. The Russians did a lot of cheating on the highest levels. And Botvinnik was a sympathizer with Stalin. So many chess players really, really despised him for that.
Well, it was said that after Glasnost and Perestroika, he was still lamenting the fall of communism.
That doesn't surprise me. Botvinnik's games, a brilliant grandmaster, but his politics were as far apart as we can be. After H6.
Yeah, that's coming back and sort of had its day, then it went out, then it came back H6.
Rook to G1.
Well, there's a cheeky move here. Do you know what the cheekiest move is for black here?
What's that? G5. Wow. That looks so weakening on the white squares, F5 and H5. What if white can play an immediate h4 here? You really think g5 is? Oh, you're the grandmaster. Apparently, we've lost connection. The computer is saying, hold on while we try to get the call back.
They're about to win.
I don't know too much about this stuff.
Makes two of us. This is why Brian being here is so essential. Are we still recording?
Yeah.
I think so. Maybe you could pause the recording. Hang on, I've got Scott right here. Hello? Yeah. That's the Windows key? Okay. No, I'm not at the desktop. Yeah, I see the Skype icon at the bottom. Wait a minute. He's calling us. What do I do? Hit the green phone? There he is. No, I have him now, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry guys, the connection went down. You get 5 minutes extra at the end. You get what you pay for, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
No, it's not okay. You get 5 minutes extra at the end.
All right.
Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you just fine.
I can see nothing. I can hear you perfectly.
We don't know how to restore the board here. Okay, we're trying to restore the board on our end here.
I don't know.
That was a really interesting Velimirovic line. I really enjoyed that, James.
Yeah.
I'll send you.
Whilst you're doing that, I'll go back on ICC.
Hold it down so I can hear. What? Wait, I can't hear you. Start over. Yeah.
Are you talking to me?
No.
Hold on. All right, I'm over Skype.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a minus sign and a plus sign. Okay. I see his face. We're talking. Add
Unless
to
we're expecting this
add to group call.
Keres attack.
Where should I see that on the laptop or up? I did. Let me. Wait a minute. This thing is small. Can I make it big? Okay. Plus button. Yeah. And then what? Yeah, I see it. Take a picture. Send like. Send contacts. Share screen. Add people to this call. Okay. I got it. Okay, I see that. I clicked it. Add. So, add to call. And on the big screen, what do I do? There's no call. What's that say up there? Call on hold?
Would it help perhaps if you were to call me, if I hung up and you called me?
No, we might have it in just a minute here.
Here, it rings.
Okay.
Yeah, call on hold.
It says call on hold. I don't see any green answer call. On the laptop, does it look like it's calling somebody, Dominic?
No?
No.
Oh, it's got Brian, Bujay, and James Plaskett at the top of the left top.
It's got Brian Bugай and James Plaskett on the top. On the big screen, it says call on hold. It has a pause button. Ended. Okay. Hit the red. Okay. Did that. Call ended. What's that group call? There's no green button yet. I see a red. Oh, I see a. Is there a call from James Plaskett on there? Yeah, on the laptop you can. Yeah, we did that, and Brian Bugatti. Pending contact request. Hold on.
Gentlemen, can you follow me on Skype? Not on Skype, on ICC.
There.
I think we're almost there, James. I'm sorry for this inconvenience.
No, don't you apologize. Don't you apologize. You can have 10 minutes more at the end for free, don't worry.
There we go. We're good.
So, how do you get?
We're good.
We're not showing the board here yet, but.
You want the ICC board over there?
Yes, on the
Was
laptop.
it there before?
Yes.
Okay, I've got it. Now, how do I put the ICC board on the laptop?
So we've got the ICC on the big screen, James. We're just working to get it back on the laptop.
What's that? What do you mean the main computer? The big screen? So it was never on the laptop? So it was never on the laptop.
But we had both of our pictures captions on the.
Yeah, I mean, we have everything that we need. It's just Dominic wants something on the laptop. What do you want?
We have both of them. Our pictures on the laptop are shown. So when it records, is it still going to show our pictures? It is. Okay. And we can just work off the big screen. So it's recording off the laptop, but it's only showing his picture on. Yeah.
How do you do that? Hello? On the laptop? Okay, the plus button on the big screen, that's your picture with the plus, the check sign? Yeah. On the big screen we have James. I see him. We don't see us. Dominic wants to see himself. I don't know.
We'll just go with what we have then. He was talking about sharing the screen on the big board with the laptop.
What are you asking me? How do I know that? Because I don't know anything about Skype. Okay. Yeah, it does. It does. It sure does. The plus sign. I don't see a plus sign. Okay, I see it right there. Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay, I see that. All right, I did. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, it looks like we're coming back here.
ICC's already on. It just got.
The camera's not on here though. We're really close though.
Wait a minute. Now James went away. I don't see James anymore.
Or me, just Brian. No, James is back on here.
Wait a minute. Dominic's talking.
Yeah.
What? What did you say, Brian? I'll have James say hi.
James, say hi.
Hello, hello.
Okay, he's there.
Yeah, there we go. All right, thank you.
All right. See if we can continue on your G5 move. Is it recording still?
That's Brian.
Brian? How do I know?
If you guys can see me, that I'm not trying to be rude, but that doesn't really, I can hear you clear as a bird. But if you can see me, why don't we just, you can record the whole thing. You're not going to record yourselves, you're going to record me. So why don't we just take it from here?
Brian,
Is that okay?
I just want to know if the laptop's recording. Is it back to recording now? It never stopped. All right. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Okay. After your G5 move, is H4 playable for white to try?
Well, is H4 playable? They're not trying to be funny, but maybe G8 is not so stupid. The whole point of G5 is that we're going to try and cement E5 square. If you find, we're going back a few years now, 39 years ago, Craig Pritchett, who's a friend of mine, Scott's international master, a little bit older now than he was then, like me, wrote an excellent book called Sicilian Scaling, which you have here. And he looked at G4 in some depth. And he gave a game of, I think it was Gitescu playing white against Spassky from the Nice Olympia, but certainly Spassky playing black. But quite an early G5 himself as black. The point being that if white doesn't do very much, you played H4, it's a very interesting move, which I've declined to take. Maybe you could take it. It just, the whole idea is to cement the G5, the E5 square, and then use that like as a base. Black plays, I don't know, A6, C7, C6, knight E5, and just tries to base his entire game around the E5 square. Yeah, sorry, you were saying.
That's interesting. That's an interesting idea, James, really. Back up your G5 move, and after rook to G1, we're following a game from Nakamura from 2014 now, The
Who's
opponent,
he playing?
he's playing Hou, Hou, 26-23.
Chinaman.
Yeah. So back up G5.
I backed up G5.
It's not showing on the screen.
I played 6G4, H6, 7 Rook G1.
Right. So black plays E5 instead.
E5 here. My
Yes.
goodness. And white what gave a check on B5?
Yes, bishop to B5 check. There we go. B8 to D7.
Yeah. I'm tempted by your knight F5 move here.
Oh, you bet. Knight to F5.
Was that played?
Yep.
He doesn't hang around, this guy, does he?
No. Nakamura's scary. A6.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
I did. A6.
I'm sorry?
A6.
And he took it,
Okay,
didn't he?
Nakamura plays bishop takes D7. Oh, excuse me. Wait, back up. It wasn't bishop to D7. It was B8 to D7 on move 8. After bishop to B5 check.
That's an interesting possibility. I'll show you a game of mine I played with Chandler after this. Similar variation.
Perfect. Okay, now knight to F5.
And now A6.
A6.
Whoa! Not out of the question. Look at bishop C4 here.
Nakamura plays bishop takes D7 check.
Well, Nakamura's Nakamura, but bishop C4 doesn't look so stupid, didn't it?
No, I like it. He's got a murderous grip on the white squares. I agree with you. Queen takes D7.
Yeah, he's got to play that. And now what's happening? F3, H4, bishop E3, knight D5.
G5 here.
G5, my goodness me.
Yeah, this is a violent attempt at refutation.
Well, I just want to look at this. It seems to me that I'm not going to give Nakamura too hard a time, but F3 isn't so stupid a move here. Okay, black plays B5 and bishop B.
I agree with you, but Nakamura isn't even concerned with the E4 pawn here. After G5, there follows knight takes E4.
Did he take on G7 check?
No. Knight takes E4. Oh, wait. Wait. Knight. Hang on a second.
I'm hanging on.
Knight takes G7 check.
Yeah, I thought so. Bishop takes G7.
Bishop takes G7. Knight takes.
And that rook on G1 is now doing something. That rook on G1 is doing something. So what do we play here with black?
Queen to C6.
Yeah, that's the move I was thinking about.
And Nakamura plays queen to D3. Very interesting play here by Hou. And he's a 26-23. It's hard to criticize when you're at that level. But he plays king to E7. So before we look at that, I guess going short is going to be out of the question.
Going short loses in one move. The pawn takes
right.
All knight F6 check.
Right. Yeah. Okay. King to E7 is played.
I'm interested to know what the clock times were here.
Yeah, it was a 40 and 2. They don't show what the times were. G5 takes H6.
Are you saying, excuse me, this was Vacanze?
It was. I didn't hear what you said, James.
Was the tournament at the Vacanze?
Is the tournament Vacanze?
I don't know. No, it's not. It's Hugenveen University Crown 16th. That's what it says. Is that in Sweden?
How do you spell Hugenveen?
Hoogeveen.
That's probably in Holland. The word spelled hoog. Like me, like everybody else, you mispronounce it as hoog. It's hoog, which means hof means mane, so it's something that means like something great or big or strong or to be treated with respect. Hof. It's probably Holland.
Interesting. White plays G5, takes H6.
Black is either doing very well there or he's going to get killed. No, it's often like that, Sicilian defense.
There is no in between. I agree. There's no gray area. Bishop takes H6. Bishop takes H6 for white. Rook takes H6. Queen to E3. Rook to H5. No,
I'm finding this all a bit suspicious from Black's point of view.
Well, it gets worse for Black. Nakamura plays Rook to D1.
Not Castle's Queen, sir.
Yeah, I was just going to say I would have gone long here in a heartbeat, but he plays Rook to D1.
Well, we might have been worried about Bishop F5 because if the knight moves, there's mate on C2.
So that's exactly what comes next after Rook to D1, Bishop to F5.
Well, then we've answered our own question, haven't we?
Yes.
Okay, Bishop. Yeah. What the heck is going on there?
Knight to G3.
I'm trying to think of a move here for Black.
Well, check this out. Bishop takes C2.
Fiendishly clever, these Chinese.
Not clever enough. Knight takes H5.
Oh, I'd have seen that move coming. He took on D1, did he?
Yes.
So White's got 3 pieces in the attack. That's the good. Plus he can win a bishop on D1.
King takes D1.
So good answer. Rook C8.
So yeah, let's take a look at this for a minute. No, so now Nakamura has the piece for a pawn. And this is all just technique at this point. The pawn isn't very much for a knight. But it is, it's so complicated because it's such an open position. It looks like Black might have drawing chances just because the white king isn't safe. That's what it looks like. Queen to D5 check.
Oh, I see. So Queen D2, Queen F3 check.
King to E2. Queen takes A2.
Oh, in that case, I start believing White's game. Something solidifies here. Rook D1, Queen C3, Queen D6, something like that.
Queen to G5 check.
Queen G5 check. Taking the game to them.
King to D7. Queen to F5 check.
Yeah.
King to E7. Black's in a bind here now. Queen to C2. I don't see how Black can get his rook into this game, which he really vitally needs to do here, because it's 3 pieces against the queen basically right now. Do you have any comments here at all? I mean, there's not much to say.
I don't think Black can get it together.
Queen, you're right. Queen to A5. Knight to G3.
That's the move I was itching to play.
Yep, redeployment. Consolidation of the advantage. Queen
plus a recurrent theme, a knight to F5 coming as well.
Yep. You're seeing 5-6 moves ahead here, and you've spent no time on this. That is coming. Very, very good, James. Queen to B5 check.
Well, don't give me too much praise, Dominic. You introduced the knight F5 move in the first game. Don't forget that.
King to F3.
King to F3. He's living in the hills. So we've got Queen C6 check here, and then is that what you play?
Yep.
And what happened? You go Queen E4, did you take it?
Queen to after Queen to C6 check. Queen to E4.
Yeah, if he takes the queen, that could be a little bit of work.
Finally, the rook comes into the game. Rook to h8. Knight to f5 check. This is a one game from here, in my opinion. I don't think we'll get any arguments. I can show you the rest of it, but I was impressed the way.
Did he put? Oh, King E6. There's a problem with King E6. Knight D4 check. Okay.
Yeah,
So what happened? You went something like King D7.
Yeah,
Show me the next few moves.
King to D7, and White plays H4. The bandit.
That's really cute play with the king and the queen, the knight all hanging, and the rook on G1. The whole band is playing together.
Yeah, and now we've got a bandit on H4. So it goes on a few moves. I don't think we have to go much farther from here. But
no,
I did want to show you this game.
If we
have you played the Keres attack in the Sicilian then?
I'll show you the game I played as black against Chandler. This was in round 9 for the British Championship in 1989. I won the tournament the following year, but Chandler was so disgusted with this game he never played the British Championship again, ever. Oh, he was actually creaming me, man. I came back from nowhere. I was black. Something not too dissimilar to what you just saw. Worked properly. Swap. G4. And I went E5. So he played the standard move, bishop B5 check.
You're bold. I think I'm bold, but gee, that early E5, that just seems so weakening on the white squares. D5 and F5.
And this is the whole point, H5. Some people play bishop G5 here, knight H7, then bishop D2, but he went consistently at F3. Attacking E4.
Yes. Okay, queen to E2.
Threatening Shane sacrifice on C3. Knight G3.
I love it.
To prevent it, I went knight D7. And you now played G5, missing my reply completely. Because I also played some tricks. This time the sacrifice was correct. I went knight here.
Knight to H. Wait a minute.
So if knight, it goes like this. If knight takes knight, I get this one.
Yes. Sweet. Nice.
Yeah. He did not, after he recovered from his surprise, he played some rather more boring move. He went rook G1. And I think I played knight F4 or something. I sacrificed the pawn. I got my pawn to G6. I finished out my bishop. I was totally lost. He could have forced resignation in one or two moves, but then I came down. I was 2 pawns down. Then I was 1 pawn down. Then I won the ending. And he was absolutely disgusted.
You know what though?
He swore like a trooper. And he never played the British Championship again after that.
Well, he showed you.
I can't say play.
He took all his toys and went home, in other words, then. That's the thing about competition. It takes a lot of heart. You have to take your losses as lessons. If you can't do that, then competition isn't for you.
I actually scored 1.5 out of 3 because I lost to. I always lose. My score against Adams is about -10 in my life. I've beaten him once. I had this position against Adams. I played some Arab guy in Bahrain who went bishop G5. I think got some slack as well. I went knight H7, bishop back down to the pawn. It's a known gambit. White gets some play, but it's not so crazy. The Keres attack. There's some interesting games. Even now, they're not irrelevant theoretically because in the book of Pritchett's, the Sicilian from 1977, there are still some lines in the game. I think of Mednices against Timon, where black It's something like this. So I like the exact movement. Something like here. Timon plays something like knight c5 here, which is a very unusual idea. You pointed out, if you take and take on c5, okay, you've got the double pawns. That's got the bishop's pair. That maybe tease you on the king side. Bishop e7, h6, everything. I think White won it. Mednes, late Mednes, and Timon. How many times have you seen that being played in this position? Only one game.
I've never seen
Timon's creativity. Timon is now. Well, he's not as young as he was. He was at number 5 in the world.
Jan Timmons, I don't know. I have studied some of it. He's very strong. I've never seen that knight to c5. Well, that is unusual. Okay, I have something else I want to show you here.
I'm certainly attentive. Please bear in mind I cannot see you at the moment. If you tell me what the moves are, I'll make them on the board.
Yes. Okay. It's coming up in just a second here. All right. Danny Kopek. Are you familiar with Danny Kopek? International master.
Used to play on the same team with him.
Yeah, I've actually played some of his games with his early C3, which is bizarre. But take a look at this. This is a really interesting line.
With the bishop D3 now?
Well, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Take a look at this. E4, C5. Kopek has white. NF3, D6.
D6.
Yes. D4.
The Kopek system is something like this. Then C3 and bishop C2.
Right. That, but we're
not so stupid. Not so stupid.
Oh no, it's not. I've had people look at me and say, people think that you can't put the bishop in front of the D pawn, but it's been proven. I had a couple nice wins with it. I haven't lost a game with it yet.
I'll come back. You said what? D4,
yeah? Yeah, D4. C5 takes D4.
Knight
takes D4. NF6. NC3. G6.
Dragon.
F4.
A relative rarity.
Bishop G7.
Last time I saw F4 at GM level was a game between Nunn and Miles in 1982. Flips and brutal in London, where Miles beat him quite quickly with white. Bishop G7.
Yes, Bishop G7.
E5.
E5.
Knight H5.
D6 takes E5.
You took E5. They've been games more. This is relatively rare as well. F takes E5.
I agree. This is rare. F4 takes E5.
Knight where?
Knight to D5. Black can't play his knight to D7 because E6 wins.
Well, they may not win, but it's a pain in the butt. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's a pain. Bishop to B5 check.
Tricky guy.
King to F8. Castles. Bishop takes E5. Kopek plays Bishop H6 check. King to G8.
Hold the phone.
Yeah, Black can't play Bishop to G7 because Bishop takes, King takes, Knight takes D5, Queen takes D5, Knight to F5 check wins the Queen.
Yeah.
So King to G8, Knight takes D5. You got that? We've lost the call again.
Should be able to.
See, on here it says, hold on while we try to get the call. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Hello, hello, I can hear you.
Okay, we're back. After king to g8.
Yeah, right. I've got Brian Bugad. Yeah, I'm looking at your board.
Okay, knight takes d5.
Oh, I can't move your position. Queen takes d5.
Yep. Knight to f5.
Oh! Gold coins.
Queen to c5 check.
King h1?
I think that's a spike check, don't you? Bishop to e3. Queen to c7.
No, I can follow the next 2 moves.
Yeah, I bet you can. Knight to h6 check. King to f8. Rook takes f7 checkmate.
Yeah. Who was on the receiving end?
On the receiving end, it was. Gee, I'm not showing who it was on the black side. Hang on. I'm sorry, James. I'm not showing who's on the receiving end of this. Maybe it's best his name is left anonymous. Isn't that brutal?
Not sure he was a master. Maybe he was. Maybe. To go back, I put my ball back. To go back to this thing with the bishop d3. I saw Romanishin talking about this on an interview he gave a few years ago on YouTube. He played this against Petrosian in 1975. After e4, bishop b7. Queen e2 was played several times in the Korchnoi Kasparov, of course, a couple match in 1974. E5 has been played d3, but he played bishop d3 and blew Petrosian off the board. About 35 moves with a brilliant knight d5 second. Theory developed though.
I really like the bishop to d3.
This is a game Korchnoi Pologorski, which happened 2 years later. The candidates match. He went here. This is not fantasy, this actually happened. Bishop takes f3. Queen takes f3. Great lover of material, Victor Korchnoi. Oh, he was. During this game, his seconds just couldn't see how he was going to possibly realise the advantage. He did. He went knight c6 and exchanged the queens. And he said, "Oh, I'm going to exchange up." Well, you exchange up, you got weak pawn on d pawn, you got weak, backward d pawn, weak square d3, weak square. But he won the game. He had great faith in his material.
Yeah, the rooks don't really mean that much.
The rooks don't really,
Since we're probably nearing the end here, I want to break away from the Sicilian and ask you a couple questions real quick. When white plays knight to f3...
You take your time, man. I apologize. I messed you guys around. You take your time. Okay. Do you want to talk to me? Talk to me. What are your questions, please?
How many hours you got? Knight to f3.
Yep.
For many years, I've looked at answering knight to f6 or g6 or d5. I've been looking at games on some of the highest grandmaster levels, and I'm playing b7 now against knight to f3. b7, b5. Not
unknown. One of the first expeditions of this move was in 1979 in the game Ridley Miles from a tournament played in Ljubljana Potorosh.
I actually I have access to that game. I am studying Miles' games. I don't know.
I wanted to tell you about the game which began e4, a6, d4, b5. He beat the world champion the following year with that.
Right, hang on, I'm pulling up something on this right now. Yeah, to me the critical line is e4, Bishop b7. d4.
Here? Okay.
Bishop takes e4. Bishop takes b5. And f6. c4.
Yeah, I was looking at this position with, what's this chap's name? Randa Funiga.
c2, c4, yes. e6. It's interesting that black sets up a French pawn formation usually with e6, d5, and c5. If black can get control of the center, in spite of the fact that he's down a little bit in terms of tempo, he can get excellent control of the center. After castles for white, bishop to e7, bishop to e7, rook to e1, knight to c3. This is where this is where black's lost some time here with his moves. After knight to c3.
Are you saying black after rook e1 to black castle?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, after rook to e1, castles for black.
Yeah.
Knight to c3. Bishop back to b7. Now, the computers favor white slightly in this position. White certainly has a lead in development, but my other points about d5 and c5, black can get his share of the center here and have a very good game. I guess it depends. My question to you is, what do you think of this position? Do you think that black's game is played?
You know, I've asked myself the same thing independently.
Really?
How to handle this. I'll give you an honest reply. I'm not sure.
That's honest.
I've got an extra central pawn with black. But what am I going to do with it? I'm not sure.
Most of the other lines I've looked at in this variation, I mean, what I mean by variation, after knight to f3, b7, b5, if white plays passively, black gets a very, very strong game because the b5 idea is to prevent c4 or exchange off c4 with the b5 pawn, in which case black gets more pawns in the center. It seems like a simple concept, and black quickly gets control of the central squares on the white diagonal. So I have been looking at games that 2,700 players are playing this. So I mean, it's not unsound. It looks bizarre, but that's
with white.
No, I'm saying players with black are playing b7, b5, and they're getting a good game. I was a little surprised it's being played at the highest levels.
Or maybe Miles Close. He really cribbed the idea from a guy who's kind of the original eccentric genius, Michael Basman, who's now, I think, he's going to be 70 this year. And he's played some fantastic teams. He beat Anderson once. He played Anderson in the position not too dissimilar to this for about 10 moves, went 8-6, king 8-7, king g8, king 8-7, king g8, king in a middle game, then burst out and mated. He also drew Tal, what was called the Christmas tree variation, and pawns at d2, e3, f4, g3, h2, a bishop in fianchetto on the king's side, a knight in f3, a knight in e2. It's called a Christmas tree, these pawns. He was the original man. He came up with the idea of e4, a6, and called it the St. George variation. Well, it became known as the St. George variation because Miles, when playing board one for England, beat Karpov with it in 1980 e4, a6. He did a lot of cassettes on it and leaflets and booklets on it. He developed it. I don't think anybody really believes in it at the highest levels. If you look at, for example, I'll destroy this position. This is the game Karpov Miles. Now, let's be fair, Miles played like a genius, but the opening wasn't correct. Some people have played e5 in this position with white, but we'll leave that alone. Bishop D3. And Karpov, apparently he was completely poker faced, I was told, when the England team captain when Miles played. Huh?
I looked at the Karpov loss. This is one of Karpov. He got crushed with this.
He didn't get crushed. He could have played, for example, he could have played here now. E5. Just ask yourself what you're going to play here with black. Maybe E6 is okay. It's a bit dangerous, but it wasn't Karpovian. He went instead Queen E2. And Miles played E6, and this is where it gets critical. I mean, after A4, Miles played C5, which is frankly, I think, does not sound. B4 may have been necessary or something like that. After C5, he went takes.
I don't like A4, James.
And he could have played E5 here. Knight G4 was extremely speculative, like White can just castle. Black is really, he's still got a problem over there on B5. And if you can meet H2 with H5, it's a very dangerous piece there. The only other way to play it is to play Knight D5. But in my opinion, and the comments in all the, you find them online, after A takes B5, A takes B5. And this is why I say it was a game of qualified genius. Bishop takes B5. I mean, I don't really think Black's got enough for a pawn. Queen A5 checks C3. I really think Black is essentially just a pawn down. However, having said that, Miles, he gave him some bullshit. He said, the guy's going to be frightened. He's going to play quiet moves. He played quiet moves, and Miles took over the board and won. From here on in, his play was, I think Knight BD2 was played after B4, B5, Knight B5. Knight E4, Bishop E7. I mean, here, for example, with Bishop G5, Black can play Queen C7, Bishop takes C7, King takes C7. He said he was playing Bishop E2, Knight C6. Because Miles himself commented Black as a perfectly playable Sicilian, and he played superbly as Black against the guy who was clearly #1 in the world at that time. Fischer wasn't active, and he was fantastic.
Miles wasn't with us long.
You probably know that game, young man.
I think the world was much more interesting with Miles in it.
I played Miles 14 times. I had equal score.
He died he had such a short life.
46, diabetes
41
killed him.
Or something?
Well, he got it in 1997. He was diagnosed when he was playing the World Championships in Las Vegas, I think, in your country. You probably know where Las Vegas is, excuse me. But in my opinion, I wrote this in my book, Starting Out Attacking Play, because I annotated my game with him. It was the last game in the book. The game I showed last time, where I sacrificed the queen for a bishop and 3 pawns.
Yes.
In my opinion, he had the condition for a long time before that. Diabetes shouldn't kill you in 4 years. The symptoms he was displaying, which in my opinion showed that he had the condition for probably 25 years or more before that, whether he exhibited sluggishness, especially in the mornings, and his thirst was often so great that during games he would slake it with quarts of milk. And this is just not normal. A normal person can't metabolize quarts of milk. There's a high sugar content. And in my opinion, with the wisdom of hindsight, he had the condition. Diabetes doesn't cause you to die of a heart attack at 46 and 4 years. He'd had it from probably 25 years before that, in my opinion.
I had a dear friend back in Pittsburgh that he died at 64. I had a friend I lost just recently. He had diabetes from, it was extreme. He was taking 3 shots a day. He died at age 64. He had a horrible life. So if you don't take care of yourself, you have to be on extreme diets. You can't smoke or drink or anything like that, because if you play around, you're gone. Just that simple.
I'm very sorry to hear about your friend, but I must inform you, you're talking to a man who has for 40 years had diabetes.
Really?
I've had it for 40 years, and we're okay so far. I'm very sorry to hear about your friend, but one has to roll with the punches.
No, you bet. I mean, we're all here for a short time. That's why.
That's right.
Every minute's so important.
Yeah.
Hey,
I like some of the stuff you sent me. That coincidence stuff was interesting. That's cute.
Well, yeah, we seem to relate like we've known each other. We've never met, but I feel like I've known you for longer than we've talked. And sometimes it's like that. I have something.
If you want to see some of my material, if you have a pen, write this down, please. It's an easy website to remember. It's my name, www.jamesplaskett.com. www.jamesplaskett.com. If you go there, you'll see a lot of the coincidences I've written down. A lot. Many of which are to do with chess.
I noticed on Amazon your book Coincidences. I was used. It's like $188.
Well, you can get it from me for a lot cheaper than that.
Well, that's good to know. There was one game I wanted to show you here. If we still have a few minutes, I'll take them.
Listen, I asked you guys around. I apologize. You show me what you want.
Okay. I was looking at a game from Short, Nigel Short, 2698 versus Babula. This was in in Istanbul. I'm not sure. 40th men's championships. Check this game out. E4.
Olympia.
Short has white. E4. C5. And F3. D6. D4. C5 takes D4. Knight takes D4. Knight to F6. Knight to C3. E6. G4. Okay, another Keres attack. This one with Short, and this was played not too long ago. I think just 2 or 3 years back. The response here by Babula 2595 was A6.
One of the best moves.
G5. F6 to D7.
Yeah.
And now Short plays H4.
It's probably the main line.
B5.
E5?
No, B as in beta. B5.
Okay. Bishop G2?
A3. Because Short wants to prevent the disruption on B4. Bishop to B7. Black looks okay here so far. Bishop to E3. Knight to C6. Knight takes C6.
You took it?
Yes. Knight takes C6. Bishop takes C6. Followed by H5. The problem as I see it for Black in this variation is Black's king is just not going to be comfortable here. I mean, if he goes short, he goes right into the attack. Like in the previous game we looked at, rook to C8. Queen to D4.
Queen to D4?
Yeah. Maybe he's looking at H6. I'm not sure. What does that look like to you?
I'll ask you a question. Do you know with which move Short is most associated?
No.
Bishop A7. So maybe he's not got the A7 spot.
Huh. Queen to C7.
He said it's been his favourite move ever since he saw the game. I think it was Karpov Unziker from the Nice Olympiad. It's like white played Bishop A7. It was white in Spanish. And then one game down the A file.
James, you amaze me how much you can keep in your head. You really do. Bishop to E2.
Well, there's a clue to it. If your head was as empty as mine, you'd remember a lot of stuff.
My wife tells me that. No, my wife says we have to make the door bigger to get my head through. Knight to c5.
Knight to c5. Well, the idea of e5 is what you're saying.
Yeah, white plays f3.
I was going to say f3. It's quite a short move. I mean, short-esque move. Well, what did the black play here for Pete's sake?
e5.
Did he?
Yep. And he's only a 25.95, so what does he know? Queen to d2. Yeah, you've already played it. Bishop to e7.
Bishop to e7.
Yes. White goes queenside.
Thought he would.
Yep. Black goes kingside. I just love black.
Now what? King b1, g6, knight d5, what?
G6.
G1, f4.
G6.
You play g6?
Yep.
It's a very short.
No guts, no glory, huh? Knight to e6. King to b1.
King to b1.
I think he wants to get off the c file, don't you?
A lot of people would have played a rook to g1.
F8 to d8. Here it comes, knight to d5. Bishop takes knight. e4 takes d5. Knight to c5.
A lot of people might play knight f8 there, but
yes, I agree with you. That looked necessary. G6 takes f7 check. King come out to play. King takes f7. Short plays f4 here.
it's a very short move.
Well, why not open the position since the monarch has come out with a sword here? Bishop to f6.
Yeah.
f4 takes e5.
Yeah.
Bishop takes e5. I thought Short would take the f-file here, but he plays bishop to g4.
It's also a very short move.
Yeah, very disruptive. I thought black was okay, but he's really drifting now. Rook to b8.
You think black is okay?
No. I thought maybe 10 moves back it looked like black was going to be okay, but not anymore. Bishop takes c5.
Yeah. Obviously got a bishop attack.
Queen takes c5. Hello, e6. Bishop e6 check.
Yeah.
King to e8.
Yeah, because king e7 and rook f1, threatening queen g5 checks no problem.
Yes, as usual, you're seeing everything. Queen to d3. The white square weakness is undeniable here. King to e7.
Well, that's a bit strange.
Just rounding. h1 to f1. This is like being in a scary movie and with no popcorn. You can close your eyes, you know, if you hear the screams.
This is lost.
Yeah, rook to f8. Queen takes h7. Queen to e3. Queen to g6. Rook to f2. Short plays h6 and black resigns.
That's the move I was thinking of.
Yep.
Yeah. If you want to see a really interesting game in this g4 line,
yes,
where black invited a fearsome attack. I saw the post-mortem, it wasn't the sounds. We're talking about a pre-computer era. Look at the game from 1980 in London. Lubojevic Larsen. Well, Larsen, in fact, invited a massive. He won the game brilliantly with black. but the position that rose out of the earlier opening was probably dreadful for him. And he played at one point when White had a pawn on f6, and a pawn on g5, another pawn on h5, and he has Black had pawns h7, g6, and f7. He played g takes h5, which just breaks all the rules, and he just thought this is ridiculous, isn't it? Checkmate or something.
In fact,
he held it together. He held it together brilliantly.
Can you reconstruct the game? I'd love to see what you're talking about.
Hang on. It's going to take me a few seconds. Just hold the line, please. I'm going to have to find www.chessgames.com. I'll show you. Look, I must emphasize that in the post-mortem, it didn't take all that long for Bent to concede that he'd really gone too far. It wasn't really viable the way he played it. Let's have a look here. Which Velimirovic 3 years ago came ahead of him in the tournament in Iris. I was first equal with 2 other GM. There were 17 grandmasters playing.
Wow.
Very pleasant chat.
Are you playing actively in any tournaments as we speak?
No. Mainly a weekend player these days, but that was a 2-day tournament held in Iris.
What kind of time controls are you playing? 40 and 2?
That was all moves in 20 minutes. I think it was 20 minutes each player and 10-second increments, something like that.
A lot of the tournaments are getting faster. I mean, I like at least 90 minutes for 40 moves. I'd prefer 2 hours, but it's harder to find tournaments at 2 hours at this point.
This is the voice last. Yeah, Ben. Very interesting man. Spoke about 8 languages. Spoke Dutch fluently. Spoke Russian. English was near perfect. Let's go back to the slide. Okay, this is the game. Lubo was one of these people who's just never destined to gain that reach the heights he really deserved. I mean, I remember Miles said he saw him play Niederzoven in 1979. Well, Larson also played, and he didn't qualify. He'd seen him playing earlier that year. He was playing very quickly. He was playing brilliantly. And he said he felt sorry for him not qualifying to be, but he never actually made the candidates. I remember watching the game. I wrote about this in my book, Catastrophe in the Opening, I think. Where I said I saw the post-mortem of the game between Kasparov and Larson from Brussels 1987, and he was Black in a Slav, and the game was drawn in about 20 moves. But afterwards, he had pawns like d5 and c6. And he showed that I can take on c4 and play c5. I can take on e4 and play c5. I can take on e4 and play e5. I can take c4 and play. And he showed all these different, very, very quickly as well. Kasparov was clearly quite nonplussed by the whole thing. He was playing with tremendous confidence in the post-mortem. He only ever actually beat Kasparov once, which was in a game from a Blitz tournament, also in 1987 in Brussels. It was c4, e5. About which an aria has been composed, if you'll believe me. That is a true story. An aria has been, if you look it up online, you'll find it. A woman sings for this game, all the moves. I'm not making that up.
Oh, that's great.
H4 played now this is, not too dissimilar to what you just saw, but these finesses are important.
This is a main line, right?
This is a main line. The way Bent played it, Lubo went here, probably with eyes on sacrificing something on e6.
Wow.
Quite an unusual move. I mean, like knight b6 or knight f8 aren't stupid, but knight b6 is not. He went here. He went f4, and now we're losing time here with Black, so maybe some move like knight b3 or knight f3 isn't out of the question. But I assure you, the post-mortem didn't go much beyond move 16 or 17. They just walked away in disgust. All Keres joined in as well. And this is.
So Black gave White a tempo for the attack.
Well, he did, and I can assure you, Lubo didn't hang around with f5, and the move that Bent played here is not the sort of move you and I would play now. I love that casting into it. That really is taking the what?
The bull by the horns, huh?
Yeah.
Look at E6.
Well, he looked at it and he played bishop E3. He takes an E6, knight takes D4, he takes F7 check. I'm not so sure. Or maybe he had ideas of F takes E6, F takes E6, knight takes E6, Queen B6, threatening mate on F2. I don't know. He went here anyway. We both went here. But I assure you, they had ideas in the post-mortem where black was just being hammered.
That knight sure has moved a lot.
It sure has indeed.
Well, it's not moving anymore.
Well, this is like the end of the beginning. He went knight C6. Queen D2. E5. Now, I wouldn't have bet on black here, but particularly against Velimirovic. He was not the worst player in the world, I can assure you. In attacking positions, you went Queen G2.
It's such a mystery chess that players can be at the highest level and still play so badly sometimes.
Well, F6 is now threatened trapping a piece, so Larson stopped at rook E8. Anyway, castle's good, so. But I assure you, the post-mortem did not get this far. They were already convinced that we would handle it differently. He'd have put Larson to sleep.
Boy, the F file looks so good for white, too. But black's pieces just don't get into this game.
Well, they did, I can assure you. Yes. And I remember Larson in the post-mortem, he went bishop F8 here, sort of preparing himself for attack. He has ideas of F, he takes F5 now, the knight being out of the game on F6. And the next move he said, it's always very strong. Remember he's seen it shown in the post-mortem, rook B5. It's always in such positions. It's a new one on me. I've hardly ever seen black play rook B5 or something in an open Sicilian match. What happened was that.
Gee, I don't even understand the move. I have to be honest.
You can see, here comes the counterpoint. That knight on A4 is a bit out of it, and black is now regrouping. Hartson, I tell you, this game in the British chess magazine, he was very impressed with the way that Larson defended it. But I think, actually, I say again, they didn't analyse the post-mortem all that long. They thought that by move 15, he could have put it to sleep if he played properly.
I guess the knight can redeploy to B2 and maybe D3, but that's slow.
Queen C7. And now look at the way the black got it together. G6.
Gee, these pawns don't look so scary.
It looks like he's committing suicide. She takes E5, takes on pawn takes pawn. He can't take back with the F pawn with F7 check, winning all the material. He takes back with the rook. And then after H takes G6, he takes back. He has bishop takes E4 as an intermezzo, for example. Attacking and defending. Attacking and defending. This is the point. What I said to you earlier, that he went Queen E2. I mean, if he plays bishop takes knight, oh sorry, I'm going to go back.
Right.
If he plays knight, rook takes bishop. The knight would have taken on G6. And now if H takes G6, it's hard to see how black can put it together. If he plays F takes with the F pawn, F7 check wins. If he takes with the H pawn, well, I can go rook F4 and get mated on H pawn. But he has this fantastic move, which defends and attacks. And then C2 is hard to defend. It's fantastic defense. It's brilliant as well.
The bishop's doing everything, attacking and also holding G6.
He went Queen E2 instead, which is a bit. And this is the move I told you about. He played G takes H5. Highly unusual move. But if Queen takes H5, once again, bishop takes E4, attacking and defending. The bishop on F8 is a very good defensive piece as well.
You know, now the rook on B5 makes sense because it can't be driven away and it does hold E5. It's really, that whole line's fascinating.
Larson was not a fool. Okay, then he went bishop G2. And again, look at the way he gets it. What you just said about the relevance of the rook. Look at this. The rook is now attacking G5. You're not supposed to defend a Sicilian defense. Like, what, the guy's off his head? No, he's not off his head. He's a genius. He's playing fantastic chess. And he won the game.
Wow.
He went Queen D2, which also defends G5. And he found a very, look at this, attacking G5 for the second time.
This is very, very unusual, James.
And look at this. Activating the bishop on F8. The queen on A5, the rook on B5, the knight on G4, the bishop on F8, the rook on E8, and both H-pawns are all defensive units. Remember what I said to you about Capablanca? If the number of pieces in the attack outweighs the number of pieces in defense, the attack should win. How can you defend with a queen on A5, a rook on B5? No, you can, and the double H-pawns are also playing their part.
So much for theory, huh?
Yeah, well, he went for some complications that didn't actually quite work. He went E5. But Bent had seen his way through. He took it.
Yes. What else?
Took it. Took it. But the pawn on E5 has also got some defensive relevance here. Now, white is obviously... The attack is just too slow, and black consolidated the material. He went bishop takes G2. Moving into tactics now. He takes G2. Knight E3. 4.
Queen to F2.
He went Queen G1.
Queen to G1.
And then knight here. Attacking and defending.
Right, C3 is overheating. This is
And
amazing because it
he went
looks
into
like
the endgame there, but lost and won the endgame. But that's highly unusual. G takes H5. How can you play chess like that? But don't forget, that was a pre-computer era. And the post-mortem did not last long, I can assure you. I saw the whole thing.
that was an amazing.
Gentlemen, it's been real. It's been real. I've enjoyed it. I'm sorry about the interruption we had. I hope the extra time I put in has compensated you for that.
James, I want to say it's been a great honor for me to share ideas with you on the battlefield today. So I want to thank Tournament Director Brian Boujay and National Master Scott Rhodes of Temecula Chess Club for their friendship and tech support here.
Yeah.
My deepest thanks goes to
So
my
had
friend.
the visual problems as well.
Well, that's okay. My deepest thanks goes to my friend Ernesto Ortega in Chicago, whose kindness and generosity made these sessions possible. So, you haven't heard the end of me, James. I'm sure we're going to be in touch here. And I talked to Brian this morning about the club. They're very interested. We want to set something up. Brian wanted to know when would it be good for you to do a club session for us. So you think about that, and you don't have to tell me right now, but I'll be in touch with you.
I'll send you an email later on today.
Yeah, sometime in February you can do a club session for us.
Yeah, sure.
I'm pretty sure that the club wants to decide what they want you to talk about, though. So I don't know how you are with that. But...
I'm at your mercy. I'm at your mercy.
Thank you for everything, James.
My pleasure. See you guys soon, yeah?
Yes. You take care, my friend.
Okay. Bye-bye now.
This is Dominick Mazzotta, Temecula Chess Club. Thank you for watching. Sorry about the tech support. That would have, so you can just turn it on. And Brian showed me where the whole file went to, so I brought my flash drive so I can download it right now.
It's already saved it.
Yeah, it's already saved into the desktop.
Okay.
It's got the file. I showed him where he looked, so I can just take it off right now. Scott, I couldn't have done this without you again. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Just close Skype. Maybe it'll turn off.
Thank you.